Commander Kethvar stared at the blue and green planet spinning slowly on his screen. After 3 months of traveling through space, the Zephyrian Empire fleet had finally reached their target. Earth looked perfect. Lots of water, breathable, air and nice weather. His job was simple. Take over this world and add it to the Empire. "Sir, we are ready to begin the invasion," said his assistant, a thin alien with gray skin and large black eyes. "Should we start with the fear gas?" Kethvar nodded. The Empire had used the same plan 47 times before. It always worked. First, they would spray fear chemicals over the biggest cities. The locals would panic and run around screaming. Then they would show off their powerful weapons. Finally, the planet would surrender in 3 days. Easy. Send the message to their leaders, Kethvar ordered. Tell them we own this world now. Far below on Earth, Captain Jake Murphy was drinking coffee on the bridge of the USS Denver. The destroyer was on routine patrol near the space station when something impossible happened. 30 huge ships just appeared out of nowhere, floating in the darkness above Earth. "Captain, we're getting a signal," said his communication officer, a young woman named Beth. Her voice was shaking. It's not from any human ship." Jake put down his coffee cup. His hand was steady, but his heart was beating fast. "Put it on the main screen." The alien who appeared looked like a tall, thin person, but his skin was purple and his eyes were too big. When he spoke, his voice sounded weird, like he was talking through water. "People of Earth," the alien said, reading from some kind of device. "I am Commander Kethvar of the Great Zephyrian Empire. Your world now belongs to us. You have 3 of your days to surrender. Do not fight us. We are much stronger than you." Jake looked around at his crew. They were all staring at the screen with their mouths open. No one moved for a long moment. Then Jake leaned forward and pressed the reply button. "This is Captain Jake Murphy of the United States Navy," he said in a calm voice. "I have a message for you, Commander." He paused and smiled coldly. "Come and take it." The alien on the screen looked confused. He said something to someone off camera, then looked back at Jake. "I do not understand. You must surrender now." "I said what I said," Jake replied, then cut the connection. At the same time, Admiral Lisa Carter was running down a hallway deep inside NORAD Mountain. Red lights were flashing everywhere and alarms were ringing so loud she could barely think. She burst into the command center where dozens of people were working at computers and talking on phones. "What's our status?" she shouted over the noise. 30 alien ships in orbit," reported Colonel Mike Stone, her second in command. "They're big, Admiral. Really big. Each one is about the size of a city." Lisa looked at the main screen showing the alien fleet. Her stomach felt sick, but her voice stayed strong. "Get me the president. Now." While Lisa was making phone calls, the aliens started their attack. Giant ships moved over New York, London, Tokyo, and 50 other big cities around the world. They opened up and sprayed a green gas that floated down like fog. Dr. Kevin Walsh was working late at the CDC in Atlanta when the gas reached his building. He was studying some blood samples when he noticed a sweet smell in the air. Other people in the lab started talking about it too. "Does anyone else smell that?" asked his assistant Mary. She was sniffing the air like a dog. "It smells kinda nice." Kevin opened a window to get some fresh air, but the sweet smell got stronger. Within minutes, the green gas was everywhere. Kevin expected people to start panicking and running around. That's what fear gas was supposed to do, right? Instead, something else happened. People started laughing. Some of them sat down and stared at their hands like they had never seen hands before. A few people walked to the cafeteria and started eating everything they could find. "Mary," Kevin said slowly, "I think this alien fear weapon is just making people high." Mary giggled and nodded. "Yeah, it's like really good weed or something." Around the world, the same thing was happening. In London, people were having dance parties in the streets. In Tokyo, everyone gathered in parks to watch the clouds. In New York, hot dog vendors were selling more food than they had ever sold in their lives. Commander Kethvar watched the reports coming in from his invasion force and felt very confused. His fear gas should have made the humans terrified. Instead, they seemed happy and relaxed. Some of them were even waving at his ships. "Sir," said his science officer, "I think there might be a problem with our fear toxin. The humans are not reacting correctly." "Run a test," Kethvar ordered. "Maybe their biology is different." While the aliens tried to figure out why their fear weapon wasn't working, Lieutenant Commander Amy Rodriguez was getting ready for the first real battle. She was strapped into her F-35 fighter jet at Edwards Air Force Base along with 11 other pilots. "Okay, people," she said into her radio. "We don't know what these things can do, but we're going to find out. Stay close, watch each other's backs, and let's show these aliens what happens when they mess with Earth." Amy pushed her throttle forward and shot into the sky. Behind her, the other jets followed in perfect formation. They climbed higher and higher until they could see the alien ships floating like dark clouds above the Earth. The first alien ship Amy saw was huge and black, with strange lights running along its sides. It looked like a giant metal whale floating in space. Amy checked her weapon systems and locked onto the target. "Fox 2, she called out, firing her first missile. The missile streaked through space and hit the alien ship's side. There was a bright flash, and Amy saw pieces of metal flying away from the impact point. The alien ship shook and started to turn toward her. "I got a hit," Amy yelled into her radio. "These things can be hurt." Back on the alien command ship, alarms were ringing just as loud as they were on Earth. Commander Kethvar could not believe what he was seeing. The humans were attacking his ships with primitive rockets, and somehow they were actually doing damage. "How is this possible?" he asked his tactical officer, a robot-like alien with metal parts sticking out of his head. "Our shield should stop anything these primitives can throw at us." "Sir," the tactical officer replied, "their weapons use chemical explosives. We designed our shields to stop energy weapons. These crude missiles are getting through." Kethvar stared at the screen showing more human fighter jets rising from the planet's surface. Each one was tiny compared to his massive ships, but there were hundreds of them, and they were all shooting missiles. For the first time in his military career, Commander Kethvar began to wonder if maybe the Zephyrian Empire had made a terrible mistake. Commander Kethvar had not slept in 2 days. His purple skin looked gray, and his large eyes were red from staring at computer screens. The humans were not behaving like any species he had ever seen. They should have surrendered by now, but instead they were getting more aggressive. "Sir," said his science officer, walking into the command room with a data pad in his hands. "I have the results from our planet scan. You need to see this." Kethvar took the pad and started reading. The first few lines made him frown. The next few made him sit down hard in his chair. By the time he finished reading, his hands were shaking. "This cannot be right," he whispered. "Run the scan again." "I already ran it 5 times, sir. The results are the same every time." According to the scanner, Earth was not a garden world at all. It was a Class 12 death world, the highest danger rating possible. The oxygen in the air was so thick it could cause explosions. The weather systems were violent beyond anything in the galactic database. The gravity was 3 times stronger than most civilized worlds. Even the plants and animals were designed to kill each other. "How did our scouts miss this?" Kethvar asked. "They only did a quick scan from far away, sir. They saw water and green plants and assumed it was safe. No one thought to do a detailed study." Kethvar buried his face in his hands. The Empire had just tried to invade a world where everything was poisonous, explosive, or deadly. And the creatures who lived here had evolved to survive in these conditions. While Kethvar was learning the truth about Earth, Marine Sergeant Tony Blake was preparing for the alien ground troops in downtown Chicago. He had 20 Marines with him, all hiding in a tall office building. They had set up machine guns at the windows and put explosives in the stairwells. "Here they come," said Private Johnson, looking through his binoculars. "Man, they look weird." Tony took the binoculars and looked down at the street. The alien soldiers were walking slowly toward their building. Each one wore a thick white suit that covered their whole body. They moved like they were walking underwater. "Why are they wearing those heavy suits?" asked Corporal Davis. "Probably because they can't breathe our air," Tony replied. "Or maybe our gravity is too strong for them." Tony was right. The Zephyrian soldiers were struggling with every step. Their home planet had light gravity and thin air. On Earth, They felt like they were being crushed by an invisible weight. Their environmental suits were the only thing keeping them alive, but the suits were heavy and hard to move in. "They're coming up the stairs," reported Johnson from his radio post. Tony smiled grimly. "Perfect. They have to come up 20 floors to reach us in those heavy suits. Let's see how tough they really are." The alien soldiers started climbing the stairs, but they had to stop and rest every few floors. Earth's gravity was crushing them, and their suits were getting heavier with each step. By the time they reached the 10th floor, half of them were too tired to continue. "This is easier than I thought," Tony said into his radio. "These guys can barely walk." On the other side of the city, Dr. Rachel Green was having a very strange conversation. She was a scientist who studied how animals evolved, and the aliens had brought her to their ship to ask questions. The alien asking the questions was named Velthara, and she looked like a tall, thin person with blue skin and 4 arms. "Please, explain how your species developed," Velthara said in careful English. "We do not understand how you became so aggressive." Rachel laughed. "Aggressive? We're not aggressive. We're just normal." "Normal?" Velthara looked confused. "Your species fights constant wars. You have weapons that can destroy entire cities. You kill other animals for food. How is this normal?" "Well," Rachel said, "Earth is a dangerous place. Everything here is trying to kill everything else. The weather, the animals, even some of the plants. If you want to survive on Earth, you have to be tough." Rachel pulled up a picture on her tablet showing a timeline of Earth's history. "See this? These are all the times when most life on Earth almost died out. Asteroid impacts, ice ages, volcanic explosions, climate changes. Each time, only the strongest and smartest animals survived." Velthara stared at the timeline with growing horror. "Your planet tried to kill you. Multiple times." "Yeah, pretty much. And each time it happened, the survivors got tougher and smarter. Humans are what you get after 4 billion years of Earth trying its best to kill us." Rachel smiled. "We're really good at not dying." "But how did you become so violent?" "We had to be. On Earth, if you can't fight, you get eaten. If you can't hunt, you starve. If you can't work together in groups, you die alone. Humans learned to be persistence hunters. We would chase our prey for hours or days until it got too tired to run. Then we would kill it and eat it." Velthara looked sick. "You chased animals until they died from exhaustion?" "Still do it, actually. We call it marathon running now, and we do it for fun." While Rachel was explaining human evolution, Space Force, Colonel Brad Stone was turning Earth's orbit into a war zone. He had taken control of every satellite, space station, and piece of space junk around the planet. Now he was using all of it as weapons. "Fire the mining laser," he ordered from his command post on the moon. A bright beam of light shot out from a converted asteroid mining station and hit one of the alien ships. The beam was designed to cut through solid rock, and it sliced through the alien hull like a hot knife through butter. "Direct hit," reported his weapons officer. "Their ship is venting atmosphere." Brad had also turned the construction robots into bombers. The robots were supposed to build new space stations, but now they were flying up to alien ships and sticking explosive charges on their hulls. The aliens had no idea how to fight against construction equipment. "Sir," said his communications officer, "the aliens are trying to retreat to a higher orbit." "Not today," Brad replied. "Launch the garbage." For the past day, Brad had been collecting every piece of space junk he could find. Old satellites, broken equipment, even bags of actual garbage from the space station. Now he launched all of it at the alien fleet using magnetic railguns. The aliens watched in horror as thousands of pieces of trash came flying at their ships at incredible speed. Their shields could stop energy weapons, but they couldn't stop a chunk of metal traveling at 20,000 miles per hour. "What kind of species uses garbage as weapons?" asked one alien captain, as his ship was hit by an old television satellite. Back on the command ship, Commander Kethvar was getting reports from all over the planet. His ground troops were losing every battle. His ships were being destroyed by primitive rockets and space junk. His fear weapons didn't work, and his advanced technology was useless against human tactics. "Sir," said his tactical officer, "I recommend we retreat immediately. We are not equipped to fight this species." Kethavar looked at the battle reports. One more time. In just 2 days, the humans had destroyed half his fleet and captured most of his ground forces. They had done it using weapons that were centuries behind Zephyrian technology. "Send a message to the Empire," he said quietly. "Tell them we have made a terrible mistake. These humans are not a peaceful species. They are apex predators who evolved on a world that makes our worst nightmares look like a vacation resort." He paused and looked at the image of Earth on his screen. The blue and green planet looked so beautiful and peaceful from space. But now he knew the truth. Earth was not a garden. It was a forge that had been creating the perfect killers for billions of years, and now those killers were coming for his fleet. General Patricia Hayes stood in the war room looking at a giant map of the world. Red dots showed where alien forces were still fighting. Blue dots showed where humans had won. There were a lot more blue dots than red ones. Operation Hometown
is working perfectly, she told the other military leaders gathered around the table. The aliens can't handle our planet. Every time we fight them somewhere that looks normal to us, they fall apart. Patricia had come up with a simple plan.
Instead of fighting the aliens in open fields where their technology might help them, humans would drag them into the worst places on Earth. Dense forests, busy cities, swamps, mountains, anywhere that humans knew how to move, but aliens didn't. "General," said Colonel West, pointing at the map, "we just got a report from the Amazon team. They lured 200 alien soldiers into the jungle. The aliens got lost within an hour." Patricia smiled. "What happened to them?" "Half of them are stuck in mud up to their waists. The other half are being chased by angry monkeys. Apparently their environmental suits smell like something the monkeys really don't like." While Patricia was planning the ground war, Captain Danny Wright was getting ready for humanity's first space battle. He stood on the bridge of the UNS Freedom, a ship that had been built in just 5 days using parts from 3 different space stations. "Captain," said his engineer, a woman named Susan Park, "the new weapons are ready to test." Danny looked out the window at the alien fleet hanging in the distance. Dr. Maria Santos and her team had been working without sleep to figure out how alien technology worked. They had taken apart captured alien equipment and combined it with human weapons. "What did you build?" Danny asked. "Well," Susan said with a grin, "we took their energy shields and put them on our nuclear missiles. Then we took their faster-than-light engines and stuck them on our torpedoes. The aliens won't know what hit them." Danny nodded. "All stations, prepare for attack. Let's show these invaders what human engineering can do." The UNS Freedom shot forward toward the alien fleet. Danny's ship was much smaller than the alien vessels, but it was also much faster. The aliens had built their ships for carrying lots of troops, not for fighting quick battles. "Fire missiles," Danny ordered. 6 nuclear missiles shot out from the Freedom, each one protected by alien energy shields. The alien ships tried to shoot down the missiles, but their weapons couldn't get through their own shield technology. The missiles hit 3 alien ships at the same time. The explosions were so bright they could be seen from Earth. 2 of the alien ships broke apart immediately. The third one started spinning out of control, leaking air and fuel into space. "Direct hits," reported his weapons officer. 3 enemy ships destroyed. Back on Earth, Commander Kethavar was trying to have a meeting with the humans. He had asked to speak with their leaders, hoping to end the war before more of his people died. The meeting was happening in a hotel in Switzerland, and Kethavar felt nervous about being on the planet's surface. Ambassador Claire Foster walked into the meeting room carrying a thick folder of papers. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her eyes were sharp and intelligent. Kethavar could tell immediately that she was dangerous in a different way than the human soldiers. "Commander," Claire said, sitting down across from him, "I understand you want to discuss surrender terms." "Yes," Kethavar replied. "This war has gone on long enough. Too many beings have died on both sides." Claire opened her folder and pulled out several photographs. "Let me show you something, Commander. This is a picture of London after the Great Fire of 1666. The humans rebuilt it bigger and better. This is Hiroshima after we dropped an atomic bomb on it in 1945. We rebuilt that too. This is New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Rebuilt again. She spread more pictures across the table. Earthquakes, floods, wars, plagues, volcanic eruptions, ice ages. For thousands of years, terrible things have happened to humans. And every single time we have rebuilt, learned from our mistakes, and become stronger. Kethvar looked at the pictures with growing unease. What is your point? My point is that you cannot break us, Commander. You can damage our cities, kill our soldiers, even destroy entire countries. But you cannot make us give up. It's not in our nature. We are the children of a world that has been trying to kill us since the day we evolved, and we are still here. Claire pulled out another set of papers. These are human military records. In the past week, we have studied your technology, copied your weapons, and improved on your designs. Our engineers are already building ships that are faster than yours. Our scientists are developing weapons you can't defend against. And our soldiers are learning to fight in space. She leaned forward and looked directly into Kethvar's large alien eyes. Commander, you made a mistake when you attacked Earth. We don't just defend our home. We learn from every attack and then we make sure it never happens again. At the same time, Air Force Major Ryan Cox was flying his bomber over what used to be an alien supply base in the desert. The base was now a pile of burning metal and broken concrete. Ryan and his squadron had hit it 3 times in the past 2 hours. Target destroyed, he reported into his radio. Moving to the next waypoint. Ryan's orders were simple. Find everything the aliens needed to stay alive on Earth and destroy it. Their food supplies, their fuel depots, their communication towers, their repair stations. Humans had learned long ago that the best way to win a war was to make it impossible for the enemy to keep fighting. Major, said his wingman, I'm seeing more alien ships trying to land near the coast. Not for long, Ryan replied. Command, this is Bomber Group 7. We have more targets for you. The alien supply ships never made it to the ground. Human. Submarines were waiting for them underwater, and surface ships were waiting for them on the ocean. When the alien ships tried to land, they were hit from every direction at once. Commander Kethvar watched the reports coming in from his supply fleet. In just 6 hours, humans had destroyed every single one of his supply ships. His invasion force was now cut off from food, fuel, and ammunition. Sir, said his communications officer, we're getting reports from all sectors. Human forces are attacking our bases on every continent. They're not just defending anymore, they're hunting us. Kethvar looked at the tactical display. Red marks showed where his forces were under attack. There were red marks everywhere. The humans had gone from defense to offense in less than a week. How is this possible, he asked. No species learns to fight this quickly. His tactical officer, the one with metal parts in his head, turned to face him. Sir, I have been analyzing human military history. They do not fight the way we do. When we go to war, we send our armies to fight other armies. When humans go to, or they try to destroy everything the enemy needs to survive. What do you mean? They call it total war, sir. They don't just attack soldiers, they attack supply lines, communication networks, manufacturing centers, even civilian infrastructure. Their goal is not to defeat our army. Their goal is to make it impossible for us to continue fighting. Kethvar felt a chill run through his body. Are you saying they are trying to destroy our entire invasion force? No, sir, the tactical officer replied. I am saying they have already succeeded. We have no supplies, no reinforcements, and no way to retreat. The humans have cut us off from everything we need. On the main screen, another red dot appeared, as another alien base was destroyed by human forces. Then another, and another. The humans were not just winning the war. They were making sure the Zephyrian Empire would never be able to try again. For the first time since the invasion began, Commander Kethvar realized that his people were not the hunters. They were the prey. The news of the failed Earth invasion spread through the Zephyrian Empire like wildfire. On the capital world of Zephyr Prime, Admiral Zorthek paced back and forth in his office, reading the reports from Commander Kethvar's fleet. Each report was worse than the last. Impossible, he muttered, throwing the datapad onto his desk. A primitive species cannot defeat the Empire's finest fleet. His aide, a young officer with green skin, cleared his throat nervously. Sir, we're also getting reports from our other worlds. 3 colony planets are asking for their own defense fleets. They're afraid the humans might attack them next. Admiral Zorthek stopped pacing. Afraid? Of a species that hasn't even left their own star system? Well, sir, according to these reports, they have left their system. Captain Laura Murphy of the human ship UNS Defiance destroyed our forward base on Mars yesterday. The Admiral sat down heavily in his chair. The Mars base had been built to supply the Earth invasion. It was supposed to be completely safe, hidden, on the far side of the red planet where the humans couldn't see it. If the humans had found it and destroyed it, that meant they were already spreading through their solar system. Captain Laura Murphy stood on the bridge of the UNS Defiance, watching the wreckage of the Zephyrian base floating in Mars orbit. The base had been huge, almost like a small city, but human nuclear weapons had turned it into scattered pieces of metal and plastic. Good work, everyone, she told her crew. That should send a message to anyone else who wants to invade our system. Laura was Captain Jake Murphy's sister, and she was just as tough as her brother. When the Space Force asked for volunteers to crew humanity's first attack ship, she had been the first to sign up. The UNS Defiance was built using captured alien technology, but it was powered by human determination. Captain, said her science officer, we're picking up signals from deeper in space. I think there are more alien bases out there. Laura smiled coldly. Then we'll find them and destroy them too. The aliens wanted a war. Now they're going to get one. Back on Earth, Dr. Peter Kim was working in his laboratory with 3 alien scientists who had switched sides. The aliens had asked for protection from the humans, and in exchange they were sharing everything they knew about Zephyrian technology. Your empire made a big mistake, Dr. Kim told Velthara, the blue-skinned alien who had interviewed Dr. Rachel Green. Most species in the galaxy evolved on peaceful worlds, didn't they? Velthara nodded sadly. Yes, most worlds are stable and calm. Species learn to cooperate because fighting wastes energy and resources. We thought all intelligent life would be the same. But Earth is different, Dr. Kim continued. Our planet has been trying to kill us for millions of years. We had to learn to fight or we would have died out completely. We're not just another intelligent species. We're survivors. The other alien scientist, a small creature with 6 arms, spoke up. We have studied your history. Your species has been at war with something for your entire existence. Your planet, your weather, your animals, each other. You never had peace long enough to become soft. Dr. Kim laughed. Soft? Is that what you call other galactic species? Compared to humans, yes. We evolved to avoid conflict. You evolved to win it. While Dr. Kim was learning about galactic civilization, President Martinez was preparing to make the most important speech in human history. Leaders from every country on Earth had gathered at the United Nations building in New York. The alien invasion had united humanity in a way that nothing else ever had. My fellow humans, the president began, speaking to cameras that would broadcast his words around the world. 3 weeks ago, we were attacked by an alien empire that thought we would be easy to conquer. They were wrong. The audience applauded, but President Martinez held up his hand for silence. Today, I am announcing our terms for peace. First, all alien forces will withdraw from our solar system immediately. Second, the Zephyrian Empire will pay for the damage they caused to our cities and the lives they took. Third, Earth and all human colonies will be recognized as independent and sovereign territory. He paused and looked directly into the camera. And if any other alien species is watching this broadcast, let me be very clear. Earth is not a target. We are not victims. We are apex predators, and this is our territory. Anyone who wants to test that statement is welcome to try. The president's words were broadcast not just on Earth, but throughout the galaxy. Human engineers had figured out how to use alien communication systems, and now the entire galactic community could hear humanity's message. Commander Kethvar received the president's speech while sitting in a human prison cell. He had surrendered the day before, along with what was left of his invasion force. Now he was writing his final report to the Zephyrian Empire. To the High Command, he wrote, "I must inform you that the invasion of Earth has failed completely. This failure was not due to superior alien technology or numbers. It was due to our complete misunderstanding of what humans are." He paused, thinking about everything he had learned in the past 3 weeks. Humans are not a normal galactic species. They are the product of a world that has been in constant crisis for billions of years. Every challenge that would destroy a normal civilization has only made them stronger. They do not fight to win territory or resources. They fight to ensure their survival, which means they fight with everything they have. Kethvar looked out the window of his cell at the human city beyond. People were already rebuilding the areas damaged in the invasion. Construction crews worked day and night, and new buildings were rising from the rubble. "I recommend that the Empire immediately open peace negotiations with humanity," he continued writing. "Do not treat them as a conquered species or a minor power. Treat them as equals because that is what they are. In fact, given their rapid technological advancement and military capabilities, they may soon be our superiors." He finished his report and sent it through the human communication system. He didn't know if the Empire would listen to his advice, but he hoped they would be smart enough to avoid making humanity an enemy. 3 months later, representatives from the Zephyrian Empire arrived at the moon to sign the Treaty of Luna. The treaty ceremony was held in a specially built space station that orbited between Earth and its satellite. Admiral Lisa Carter represented humanity, while a new Zephyrian commander named Yethkol represented the Empire. This treaty recognizes Earth and all human-controlled space as sovereign territory, Admiral Carter read from the official document. The Zephyrian Empire agrees to pay reparations for the invasion and to share certain technologies with humanity. In return, humanity agrees to establish diplomatic relations and trade agreements with the Empire. Yethkol signed the treaty with a shaking hand. "We also agreed to inform other galactic powers about humanity's unique nature, so that this type of misunderstanding does not happen again." After the ceremony, Admiral Carter received a message from Earth Command. Other alien species had been detected at the edge of human space. Some seemed friendly, but others appeared to be scouting for weaknesses. "Admiral," the message said, "we need you to prepare the new Deep Space Fleet. It looks like humanity is about to meet more of our galactic neighbors." Admiral Carter looked out at the stars and smiled. "Let them come," she said to herself. "Earth has been teaching us to fight for 4 billion years. Time to show the galaxy what we've learned." Within 5 years, everything had changed. 12. Alien species had asked humans to train their military forces. Earth had become the galaxy's biggest weapons manufacturer. Human colonies were spreading to dozens of star systems. The galaxy had discovered that humans were not just another intelligent species. They were apex predators, and now they were claiming their place at the top of the galactic food chain. And in the depths of space, other alien empires were beginning to learn what the Zephyrians had learned too late. When you're dealing with humans, the only smart move is to be their friend, because the alternative was to become their prey.